whole university.
Use of drugs or repeated.
The interesting phenomenon, however, people do think that prescriptions do affect them a lot.
What if they receive one better one? So you drop the one.
And everybody just started laughing.
Don't like it, swap. Don't like it, swipe. Don't like it, swipe.
Failing in the planning is actually planning to fail. That's why planning is one of the most important ones.
Very difficult, and nobody will pay for it.
Coffee time.
Thank you all for attending and giving us these amazing speeches. We will always remember this event.
So let us start. And we are going to invite here our first speaker. Stress is a normal human reaction that happens to everyone when changes occur, resulting in physical, emotional, and intellectual responses. Some of the main sources of stress include work, finances, parenting, relationships, and day-to-day inconveniences. But did you know that stress can also be the source of happiness? Our first speaker will share her thoughts with you. So welcome, Gulirano Masharipova.
Doing really well. I hope you are having a beautiful morning because you get to see me from early morning. So when you see a person technically, or he or she gonna ask you, hey, how you doing? How are you? Conditionally or unconditionally, we're gonna say, hey, I'm okay. How about you? But are you really okay? Sometimes we think that feeling okay is really okay. But actually, not feeling okay is the first step of being okay. Not feeling happy is the first step of being happy. We just sometimes get stressed and we rush to label stress is the source of only negativity, right? You think when you see the word stress, you get to think that it's the source of all your problems and you're gonna only get depressed, you're gonna be under stress, but do not rush. You can think that now I'm gonna say some beautiful words. You can think that I'm going to change your life, but technically, do you think that 15 minutes of my speech can change your life? To be modest and to be honest, I cannot change your life for this 15 minutes. I cannot, but I can change one thing, but can change your whole life, which is your mindset, which is the way of thinking. I mean, well, when you get stressed, you can have, yes, I admit, you can have some sleep disorders that you cannot sleep. You can get obsessed about problems, or you can lose your passion for change yourself, your passion to live further, because you just sit and do nothing. You just want to just sit, not thinking about what is going to next, right? And it can cause also anxiety, which is a bit stressful. And I prepared some photos which can, oops. So it's not moved to another slide, so it's okay. But you know what? We all have problems. We all have stress. Even now, when I'm speaking here, maybe some of you are listening to me, maybe some of you are not listening. Why? Maybe you are thinking of your own problem. And it's okay. I don't force you to listen to me because maybe you have more serious problems than this speech. But you know, these problems are the source of luck. If you have problems, then you are lucky. Accept my congratulations. I mean, why? Because this can be the next step of your life, which can better you. I mean, I had also one problem which made me so stressed. But this was the problem which made me live, which took me out of depression. I mean, back 4 years when I was a first-year student at Urgenç University, I was just doing my bachelor's, and I fell in love with one guy who was the #1 hottest guy of the whole university. I was just, a first-year student. I was just only 17. And then I was so after him. I was so into him. But, that time I was only devoting my all time to studies. So I was not looking after me as a girl. But which means that I didn't have enough guts. I didn't have enough confidence to just go and talk to him. Because I thought that he would reject me because there were a lot of beautiful girls. And that time, after 2 months, after following him hiddenly from back for 2 months, I was in the class of history. I was at the history class. I got a message on Facebook. I just checked it, and this freaked me out because I got a message from the #1 hottest guy of the whole university. Can you imagine that? I couldn't. It just took me like 10 minutes just to say hello back. It just took me 10 minutes. I had a shaking hands. And since that time, we started talking every day, all the night. And then we started completing each other. We started sharing ideas. We started living. I mean, not living technically, literally, figuratively, because we had a lot of things in common. I was so happy thinking that I finally found someone which can be the same like me. And it continued for 2 years. For 2 years, we, technically shared our lives together. But one day, I realized that because we were so young, the end of our relationship was only full of quarrels, arguments, and because of my studies, I didn't want to be disturbed. I just told him, Shahrukh, can we just take a break? Because I don't want to be mentally tortured right now. I don't want to be distracted by this stuff. And he didn't want, but I did. I made him out from all social media. I blocked him. I deleted him. And it was kind of a month later. Again, I was at university having a lesson. That time, my friend came up to me seriously and asked, Guli, how are you? I was so surprised because it was at the middle of the lesson, and out of blue, she asked me how I was. So I said, damn, I'm okay. So what are you asking? And she again repeated the question, Guli, are you really okay? And I said, damn, yeah, I am okay. So what's happening? What's up? And she told me, oh my God, he died. I asked what? Who died? I mean, Shahrukh died yesterday. Didn't you hear about it? I was frozen. I couldn't breathe. It turned out that he had a cancer. When he wanted to tell about it to me, I just ignored him. I didn't listen to him. Could you imagine? I was so depressed. I was under high level of stress. I realized at that time that movies are not made up. Movies are taken from life because literally I couldn't sleep. I couldn't eat anything because I was only blaming myself for not listening to him, for not spending his last moments with me. But I realized that stress helped me that time to get out of the situation. Like how? I mean, when I got stressed, I realized that stress helped me in 3 ways. The first way is, just imagine, I have a quick question to you. When you have a problem, Do you want to see people? No. Do you want to talk to people? No. You just hide yourself into the room, right? You have like your own room at home, and you just when you have stress, you just rush to that room and lock yourself behind it. Yes, because you don't want to see people, you don't want to talk to people, you don't want to share your problems to people. This is how stress helps you in the first place. I mean, whenever you are stressed, you buy some time for yourself. You will have only you time, which means that in a normal life, when you have just problems, you just rush to your friends. I have a problem. You just rush to your family or mom, I have a problem. Yes? And I mean, like, it's okay to rush to them because they are your own close people. Why I cannot move this? Okay. This is how I look when I get stressed. Look at this picture, please. Look at this. So what can you see? What can you literally see? Some people see the city. Some people see totally different thing. Some person, like my friend, saw a photo of a person. I don't know what the hell he was talking. The same happens. I mean, everyone can see it from different angle. Everyone can see it differently. The same with your problems. Everyone has their own life. The same with their problems. If I have a problem, if I ask her advice, she can give totally different advice than the person next to her. Which means that maybe she has different problems. I have different problems. She has different solutions to this. I have different solution for my problem. And this happens. When you get distracted by company of a lot of people, we get more stressed. Because you try her advice also, his recommendation also, but you never ask yourself, what's the problem? What's the solution? Maybe I can solve this problem myself without controlled supervision of people. Which means that stress can give you time for sitting alone, talking to yourself, feeling yourself, and then finding your problems, sorting them out, and giving them possible solutions only yourself. Because nobody can understand you better than you. Nobody can know you better than you. Yes? Nobody can feel what's happening inside. And the second one is, if you are also an art person like me, you don't want to share your words with people because of two reasons. The first reason, you don't want to burden people with your own problems because she has her own life. She has also problems. Why should I be extra problem to them by telling my, problems? And second, maybe sometimes you feel a bit ashamed to tell all of your words, even to your mom. Even to your mom, you don't share all your words. Yes? That time, get a pen and paper and start writing them down. Put your emotions on a paper because it cannot ask you why. It cannot ask you how. You just write them down. The same happened to me. Can you imagine that? I wrote a book after I got stressed about that relationship with Shahru. I got so depressed and I started writing because I didn't want to talk about it to my friends. I don't want to cry like a baby to my mom. That's why I just started writing. And then, can you imagine, after I publishing it, in a week, it was sold out. It was sold out. I just bought an iPhone for the price of this book. I mean, we can first earn money, and then we can just write a book as an author. Because when you're writing something, when you get stressed, it's not your mind which is writing these words. It's your heart which is feeling every single word that you are writing down. That's why be stressed and be a millionaire. And then, this is my first novel called Jane. And the second psychological thriller called something. Okay, so as I told, we can be, everyone sitting is here can be an artist. You can say, what the hell is this girl calling me artist? Why? I cannot draw. You can. Just get a painter, splash the colors on a paper, and you can get an abstract art from them. I mean, look at this. Oops. You can look at my work. Is it scary? Yes. People ask me, where's the mouse? You forgot to draw a mouse. Damn, did I forget to draw a mouse? Okay, people think that it's a bit scary, but it's not. Why didn't I draw a mouse? Why do you think? What do you think? Why? Give us a think about it. Maybe you think that I totally forget, really? No. I mean, like sometimes eyes can talk more than a mouse. Yes? Just imagine you are so stressed, you just go up to your mom and look at her. You cannot say anything, but she can feel you. How? Because of your eyes, yes? And this is how. People say, is it killing or something? Why? Because she has nothing to wear. She's so dirty. I don't know. It's up to you. It's up to you how you feel. This is what I drew when I got stressed. When in a normal life, typically when I do something, it doesn't work because I don't feel it. But when I get stressed, if I draw something, I feel every inch of it. And another interesting fact, according to Wikipedia, there is a right hemisphere of your brain which is responsible for your artistic skill, which means your drawing skill, your singing skill, your competence in the right hemisphere. And if you do some good meditation, it can increase the productivity of that right hemisphere to 45%. Just 45%. This right hemisphere is also responsible for socializing. You think that sometimes you are introvert, sometimes you are extrovert. Why? Because of this right hemisphere. If you have stress, it works better than good meditation. It's so funny, right? I mean, if you get stressed, you can get improved the right hemisphere of yours to 68.5%, which is higher for almost 20%, right? Which means that if you get stressed, you're lucky. And what is that? So did anyone notice that I used different font, different background color to one of my slides? Please raise your hand if some of you just noticed, spotted it. You didn't. Maybe some of you did. If you did, then you are lucky again. Why? Because sometimes we just skip some small details which can lead to bigger happiness. The same with stress. We always label stress as a source of negativity, but it's not. You can look at this. It's my birthday cake, which is made by my sister. That time, I received a lot of birthday cakes, which are fancy, which are so expensive, but still, it's special for me. Why? Because it's done with kindness, it's done with small details, which means that it made me much happier. Now, I need one volunteer. I need one volunteer, but think about it twice. The task is a bit difficult, but it can be rewarding. So I need one volunteer, please. Only one volunteer. Any brave? Yes, please come. Yes, please come. And here is a 10,000 soon. You can take your seat. There is nothing for you to do. And when I asked the question, please, I need a volunteer. Everyone wanted to come to the stage, but you had a thought, what if I go and she gives some difficult question to me? I feel embarrassed. Damn. What if I get humiliated in front of people? No, I don't want. It's better to me to sit here, right? You think about it. Sometimes fear can also lead to a loss of happiness. So do not fear to get stressed. Do not fear to get under depression, because you can change every negative thing into positive thing. It's all about you. Everything is in your hand. And still, if you cannot be happy, please call this girl. She can help you. She can help you. She can do her best to help you. Thank you so much. Have a nice day. Bye-bye.
We hope that you enjoyed our first speaker. Are you excited? Do you want to hear more? Wonderful. Okay, so, all of us are somehow addicted. The word addict is usually associated with something negative. So it usually refers to someone who is addicted to drugs or alcohol. But you know that good things can also get us addicted. For example, work addicts are called workaholics. You can also be sweets or coffee addicted. In our modern world, most of us are internet and technology addicted, right? So our next speaker will motivate you, and he will help you to choose your own addiction. Please welcome him, Robert Gafarov.
Good morning, honorable guests. We're happy to have you all here. So my topic for today is addiction. And, well, that's not really the best definition. I'll be quite interactive today, actually, so pay attention. So first of all, how many of y'all consider themselves to be addicts? Yep, barely anyone. Well, this is something to talk about. Me, myself, obese 3 years ago, was laying in my bed, eating, consuming sugar, consuming gaming materials. I was not aware that I was addicted. I mean, how could I be? I was just a child that's a bit overweight, which was not really the case. And that misunderstanding that was in my head, that addicted people are actually those nasty people in the dark poking their skin with needles, that was the thing that caused me years of denial. So, first of all, addiction to sugar is a problem. However, when we think of what really is an addiction, well, addiction is a biopsychological disorder characterized by repeated use of drugs or repeated engagement in a certain behavior. Well, this is the man that explored it, actually. Pay attention to him. Well, we should, in that case, compare what is dopamine. Happiness for your brain. This is how it's defined, with dopamine. And so the answer is obviously consume more dopamine and you'll be more happy. Well, that's the struggle. The struggle is that many people consider this as the easy option. But the only way you can get dopamine to be efficient is if you consume it through struggle. So without struggling, this dopamine becomes highly addictive. So in that case, let's compare gamers and drug addicts. Well, you see, a drug addict, he gets his dose, that does not benefit his life, does not make him a better person or make him more successful. All right, a gamer must be much different, right? So he completes his battle pass, that does not make him a better person, does not make him reach anything. Doesn't that sound quite similar? I think it is, but that just must be a wrong example, right? Because like gamers are drug addicts, that's a big difference, right? So let's look at this chart instead. What are behaviors that give you dopamine for free, basically? Well, smoking, obviously, alcohol, masturbation, drugs. Love? Wait, is it saying that the purest thing in the world, love, is bad for you? Now, this statistic must be wrong, am I right? Let's move on to the next slide. There is no way love is bad for you. The withdrawal from love and heroin, the exact same in the human's brain, which explains the desperation of those whose heart was broken and the desperation of those. One sec, some technical difficulties. And the desperation of those who cannot get another dose of heroin. What this is trying to say is that a person that is not loved, that was heartbroken, for example, is his brain is going through the same exact process as the brain of a heroin addict that cannot get another dose. So by this, you can see that for your brain, the interaction is pretty much the same, really. But there must be some sort of a defining line. There is no way that by living a healthy life, being loved, going to the gym every day, reading books, you're the same kind of addicts as all of the drug addicts, right? Well, there obviously is a defining line. I'm sorry for painfully confusing you, but I just wanted to get your attention to look at these statistics. This is a statistic conducted by the EU Drug Association. And what do we see here on the first place? First place, alcohol. By far. Look at the other examples. Methamphetamine, amphetamine, GHB, they are all way behind. So what is it trying to say? It is basically comparing harm to others and harm to users. So you could really assume that alcohol is not an innocent drug, is not an easy way to relax with your friends on the weekend. But how does it work? Why is it bad for you? Well, first and foremost, alcohol is the only drug that has proven to cause aggression. So people that consume alcohol are aggressive in general. And another problem is coming back to the dopamine. So during the week, your brain understands that on the weekend, it is going to get alcohol, so it is going to get free dose of dopamine. So your brain is smart, and it's thinking like, why would I work during the week if I can get the free dopamine on the weekend? Which makes sense to some degree, obviously, but this is not what you desire. You want to succeed in life. You want to, during work week, you want to become better. You want to achieve something. But this consumes your dopamine, and consuming it removes all the motivation from your life. It makes you not desire anything in your life. So basically how it works is, you see, in general, your dopamine level is at 1. And any activity, including food, nicotine, is going to raise the dopamine and go back down. However, when you consume some strong drugs or when you consume alcohol, look at this. Now your threshold is here. And as the threshold moves up, you see, food does not bring you the same joy anymore. The activities that you love, the hobbies that you love, achieving something, completing your homework, it does not make you happy anymore. And this same exact thing happens with people who are addicted to alcohol. You see, as their average level moves up, the drugs that they consumed in the past do not bring them that spike anymore. So they're seeking for something stronger. And there is no way out of it except for rejecting it completely. So, the next question comes up. Why are children from rich families often found addicted? All of you know this. From some rich family, there is a kid, and now he's in the streets doing drugs. Why does that happen? Well, look at this example first and foremost. He's from a royal family, and you see his story on the right. But why does it happen this way? Why is it there's such a correlation? Well, you see why this correlation happens is because these kids from rich families, they are overdosed with dopamine. They are overdosed with happiness, and their threshold moves way up. Why? Because of the gifts, because of the devices, because of the perfect food made by the home chef. And this becomes a struggle because their parents are trying to get all of the best to their child, but they don't understand the issue of dopamine deprivation. So they're just setting up their child for failure. Well, in that case, let's go back to the statistic. And what do we see here? Tobacco, 6 spot. Look at how much harm to others it causes. So why does that happen? 30% of lung cancer cases are passive lung cancer cases. What it means is that the person himself did not smoke. He didn't do anything harmful. He did not harm his own health. It's just that people around him, people that he loved, people that he respected, they're pretty much killing him. So the next time you make a choice of consuming alcohol, of consuming tobacco, you should realize that you're not only harming yourself, you're harming the ones you love as well. Passive smoking is a really big struggle in our world because those around you might be the ones killing you. However, how do you break it? What is an addiction for you? Addiction, again, biopsychological disorder, that is engagement in a certain behavior. But there's engagement in reading books, engagement in gym every day. But what's the difference? To read, you have to fight. To love, you have to fight. To go to the gym, you have to fight. So choose the addictions that make you fight for your happiness, that make you struggle, bring you that success later, instead of the ones that just give you happiness for free. And that is how you break the cycle. So when choosing your addiction, please choose wisely. Thank you very much.
Sometimes it's very difficult to say no. We often fear that people will reject us if we disappoint them. So we want to say no, but we say yes. So why it's so difficult to say no? Why we cannot reject? Why we cannot refuse? Our next speaker will help us answer this question. I give the floor to Kamila Saidova. Welcome.
Greeting everyone. So I'm going to start. Changes to go straight. Actions to implement. Dreams to realize. Upgraded my personal background about the recent world. I tried to see what is very significant for me until I realized who I am and who I was in the past. Outlandish in society. Isolated from all. The aptitude to commence and countless of fears influenced on our mind. And people's prescriptions about the recent world connected me to what I'm doing now. And this made the possible strength to observe the affected reality I ever tested. The countless of fears really accepted to the anxiety. And for our recent community, it goes what it's having. To accentuate biological cause of our anxiety goes to the mental factors. And people's prescriptions usually influence to our brain system. We go to realize what is going to happen. In recent age community, people get usually affected by people prescriptions for not having the passion. And there is having the global impact on the insecure and anxiety. The insecure of mine was to how to commence the efforts I ever wanted to start. And to what extent we are going to use this anxiety to use our field. According to useful traits and strengths, it's already not said that students who are insecure about their life perspectives and career goal, they're usually affected by the things they are going down. And here is the real passion. Passion to put a barrier to the strengths you want to get. Here is the transformation of your career goals goes to the visualization. The visualization of goals go to the interesting phenomenon. However, people do think that prescriptions do affect them a lot. Hence, visualization plays the key feature and the huge role how to impact. The visualization of mine was to create an idea that hasn't been implemented yet, and to set the source of the affection and visualization go putly strengthen the reactions. It's all known that when you do think about the idea which hasn't been set yet, you would like to predict and visualize. But here is the strength that puts you in effort that make visualization of your proposed goals. And insecure of anxiety, this is just the role of us of being threat. Here we go with the things that really impacted me a lot. When I was a student, I also was thinking about what is the countless of the fears I ever affected during my school times, and what kind of impact and aptitude to commence I was supposed to start. The contribution the power of our society to make something brilliant, to observe the life career perspective in their life opportunities. This is the way how we accept risk into challenges and transform obstacles to the opportunity. And here is the people who really affect us. This is the anxiety of our fear. This is the fear to say no. But the passion, it's a really unique key feature of your strengths. It goes with your emotions. However, emotions are not yet created by us. When I studied the UPG session about the sources of emotion, United People Global of Sustainable Development, I usually trace it that something is indifferent in my mind, that I'm no more evolving. The main strengths that I put in this significant approach was to observe phenomenon of our stress. This goes to the fifth feature, how we accept objective reality. And it goes to the physical response, how we observe the life. When we do think about our anxiety and the visualization, we create an idea and then we accept to dream. And when we dream, we don't have the particular order of our perceived information because we don't know how to perceive the given data. And here's the thing, once we visualize the brilliant life we would like to see, we observe how the physical response it goes to the objective reality. Here is the power of thoughts. Objectively goes to underline most affected features of our recent global community. When we do think about something positive, restricting the negativity, we used to save our time. We used to observe what is very crucial for us. And the power of thoughts are the main features of our inner power. How we spread the information, how we reflect, and how we act. Here we go to the things that really impacted me a lot. Dreaming about the possibility, how to accept risk in the real challenges. I wanted to be as a global citizen. I wanted to see the life in a real objective, how we observe the real life perspectives. But the people's prescriptions mostly affected me a lot, affected me to go down. But the falling and the straight depression and the insecure helped me to observe my life privilege, my career perspectives in the real recent world. The impact to save the climate, to save our world, to have renewable resources, and to make tree planting, to create the green community of people, and to contribute into the international society of people, to make a commitment, civic engagement, and to make our life career goals. This is the main power that we studied in the United People Global. This is the power of our strengths. Whenever we visualize our life in a positivity, we used to say no to our fear. We used to accept our anxiety as the main challenge. This goes to your passion. And the power of mind, it was the power of thoughts. The inclinations and possibility helped me to retrieve the information into my consummate way of my activism. Being as a social global activist helped me to understand, to feel the people, to motivate and accept life perspective more easily. Through my continuous way, I saw how people get scared by the things that is happening in our society, how they don't feel the possible solutions to create the positive nature. This is a key figure that we're mostly afraid. We cannot say no to fear. We cannot say yes to passion. But however, when we visualize, when we keep thoughts, when we have our ambitions to retrieve the information, we usually notice how it likes in the real objective world society. It goes to our energy. And many people keep asking questions how to accept, how to find the energy to stay optimist, regardless the all prescriptions, regardless the all the things that affect it. But concerning to this factor, there is a phenomenon that energy is not fulfilled by the things you visualize. Energy is inside of our power. It goes to the strengths that you wanted to precise. This goes to your ability, how you are feeling yourself, even right now. You never know. You visualize that you feel cold, but indeed, it's not. You're having inside your thoughts. You're having your wishes to continue. But there are the people who mainly affect your power. But this is a not, because our main system, it goes to the brain. Our brain is affected. Our brain is visualized by the things that people say. However, we're all youngsters, we're community of adults who create the positive nature. This goes to the implementation of the things of our own written story. This is a passion to say yes, to say no to our fear. And let's look to the objective reality of our students who are sitting, who are dreaming, who are fighting, who wants to put in effort. There are some cases, but we never fall. There are some people who used to say that there is everything we do, this is a waste of time. But look to the reality. Is it really a waste of time of your predicted future? Maybe the people itself are the real waste who are start to affect you, to force, and to fostering community, to observe how the real affection goes to our mind. We usually don't precise. We usually don't put in effort what is in our mind. Consequently, people used to affect a lot. And every day, on day-to-day basis, people feel how they are, in case, struggling a lot, but still, the people's prescription. And this is a passion, your passion to observe your inner power. There is an anxiety that goes in the past, anxiety that puts the main barrier and parallel to our effort. But ability to evolve, amazing commitment, doing the same actions, providing the strength to say fear no, learning by mistakes, falling and again, going not to the down, but to grow. The mobilization of people, it goes to all the mental insecurity, and we don't observe how it usually affects. It affects a lot. And to conclude the given information that was provided in here, I would like to say about the one poem that I have recently written about the self-respect to ourselves. It's about a passion. You are the person who is next, was born with life expectancy. The human being who is assessed, survive in world society. There is a certain way to know, to realize your strong effort, the choices in your future on eligible to change your plot. If you imagine who you are, who is existing in the world, who spread the most exciting role with no restriction embargo. Your life is totally the best, such brilliant with unique key. Ensure priority to test with self-respect and dignity. Thank you.
Gratitude is the expression of appreciation for what one has. It's an emotion that makes any person happier. You know that people who are grateful, they feel less pain, less stress. They even suffer insomnia less. They have healthier relationships, and they do better professionally and academically. So we often do not value what we have. and we don't stop complaining about our life. So let's stop. Let's be grateful. The topic of our next speech, from hopeless to happy homeless, the counterintuitive practice of gratitude. Let us welcome Shohrukhbek Olimov.
You know, life is like a garden that's full of opportunities in the form of these apples. After entering it, you grab one. You take it close to your mouth. But as you're about to eat it, then you find another better looking apple. So you drop it. You go forward. You take it. But again, you think to yourself, what if there is even better one ahead? So you drop the one. You keep looking in search of a better one. You're going, ignoring all the other apples. But then you realize that you reach the end of the garden. Now there is no way back home. You are only left with regrets. And when you have regrets, it's very difficult to feel happy. So, this is my question. Are you happy? The first time when I remember I was regretful was in my primary school. I caught a bus and went to visit my aunt's house. So on my way, I mentally prepared myself dozens of times to ask the driver to stop in the right station. I was really shy. 100 meters left, finally, but I'm silent. 50 meters left. Come on, man, you can do it, Shohrukh, let's ask him. I encourage myself. But now I'm silent. 10 meters left. Squeezing my hands, I finally summoned up courage and opened my mouth and said, nothing. This is how I missed my station and went back home on foot in winter for hours. I suffered, and at that moment, I promised myself that I would change, that I would become a better person. So this is how my self-help journey has begun. I signed up for martial art classes. I started following all the gurus I was told to follow. I read book after book after book. I promised that I would change. I repeated affirmations in front of the mirror saying that I'm happy, I'm powerful, I am inevitable. And here I am now, a teacher of 2,000 students with a band 8.5 in IELTS and 1,419 in SAT, and also role model for some students receiving tons of messages of love, inspiration, and respect. This is it, I told myself. This is what my life had been missing. Finally, I am happy. Thank you. Well, you know, at least this is what I wanted others to think. I was the unhappiest person on earth. Despite all the achievement and praise I got, I still felt I was not enough. As if I was failing at life, failing at becoming better, more charismatic, more good-looking, and on and on and on and on. And I thought, maybe the problem is my surroundings, so I decided to move out from home at the age of 18 and to live in a flat for 1 month. But nah, it did not help at all. So feeling confused, I went out. And with this fog in mind, I started rambling around the streets of Tashkent until I came across the homeless. So I always wondered, why do people get into such a terrible state of life? And more importantly, are they happy with the way they are living? So out of pure curiosity, I stopped and asked, sir, I'm sorry to bother you, but I'm really curious. How much money do you make out of this sack of bottles? And he's like, taking out all the money and counted, which I did, 30,000 sums. And I'm like, is that enough for you to live in streets of Tashkent? I mean, why do you look so happy and content? Look at his smile. That's simple, boy. Today I have something to eat. And do you see that bus stop over there? It's my turn to sleep on that bench. You know, it's warm there. Wow. He then went on to the nearby bakery and bought 2 buns, one of which was for me. Later, he bought 2 ice creams, and again, one of them was for me. And I did not even ask for it. What a paradox, right? The homeless had everything, and I had nothing. His hands were dirty, but pure enough to share 2 pieces of happiness. But still, I didn't understand what was the one thing that made him so happy in this life. So after a year of questioning myself, I finally made up my mind to test this out personally. So I approached my mom. Mom, do you know how much I love you? And she's like, what do you want? I don't have money. No, Mom, I'm being serious. I want to stay homeless for 24 hours in the streets of Tashkent without anything. No money, no telephone, no connections, no food, just me and my thoughts. Well, she cried. They didn't let me to do so, but I kept going, and finally I persuaded her to embark on this challenge. So 1 week prior to this challenge, I started preparing myself. I did not shave, and I slept on this floor at nights so that I can get immersed into the atmosphere of staying homeless. I didn't take a bath. I even put a cast on my leg. I prepared these dirty clothes so that I would look like real homeless. And finally, that day came, 7th of May. I'm out there in the streets. I approached a random bus driver and asked him whether he would give me a free ride, to which he responded, "Look at yourself, pig. You stink," and drove away. That hurt me. But I was expecting that. Why would they let me in, such a dirty guy, you know? And after having learned a lesson, I then hopped into another bus without asking any permission. And one woman approached me, and she's like, "What happened, boy?" I explained the situation, but I lied to her, saying that I had arguments with my parents, and that's why I ran away from home. And then she's like, "Your eyes are telling the difference. I mean, look at you. You look such a good and cute boy. I can't believe that this thing happened to you." And she's like, "You know, my son is in prison now. My daughter is a drug addict. So I don't want you end up in the same place. I can adopt you as a son, so please be my son. Here is some money, and here's my contact number. Call me whenever you can." Wow, I was speechless. And it is the time when I started to understand what kind of how much of a blessing it is to have people around to truly care about you. Then I went out of the bus. I was hungry. I entered a random fast food restaurant and asked for food. And they gave me leftovers, pasta, and a bottle of water. And what's even more interesting is that the guy sitting next to me overheard our conversation, and then he's like, "Sir, come on, take my seat. I have a hamburger here, here's water. Do you want something else? Let me order it." And then another woman approached me, and without any words, he put some money into my pocket. 3 more people to care about me. Unfailing quality of unconditional love. And you know, from then on, everything started to seem more beautiful in life. Even the pasta, which was very oily, which I would never and ever eat at home, seemed to be so delicious. Even the bus stop bench there, on which I slept at nights, was so soft. Everything that I didn't have and had started to meaning sense, started to bring me lots of satisfaction. So, you know, the problem with our society is that it is overly focused on unrealistically high expectations. Be healthier, be better than the rest, be the smartest. Everyone is telling everyone that we are all going to be successful. But this fixation on the positive only serves to remind of who we are not, of what we lack, and of what we should have been, but failed to be. Repeating affirmations in front of the mirror and saying that I'm happy just reminded me that I was not. After all, have you ever seen a truly happy person standing in front of the mirror and saying that he's happy? I guess no. So let me get back to my question. How happy are you at this moment on a scale of 1 to 10? And let me guess. Is it around 7? Well, in 1980s and 90s, when psychologists started to study happiness, they asked this same question from thousands of people. And what they found was intriguingly exciting, but at the same time, very boring. Pretty much everyone said 7. The homeless coming up to you and asking money, well, for bread, 7. A millionaire making millions of dollars, 7. Well, you know what? We people tend to chase after that imagined 10. And we tell ourselves, if I just have this thing of a little bit more, then I would get happy. But our mind will always find enough things to get slightly disappointed. So when passing through that garden of life, maybe, just maybe, instead of searching for all the best apples, we just have to take the good-looking one, ignore all the other ones, and take it close to our mouth, and enjoy the taste of it. Enjoy that mediocrity. Thank you.
Usually, it's very difficult to make right decisions. So, paradox of choice is about making wise choices, especially when you have so many options. I'm pleased to invite our next speaker who will share her ideas with you. So, please welcome Shahlo Giyasova.
When I was around 6 years old, my parents decided to take us to the pyramids. Not the Egyptian pyramids, but the pyramids. It's a family vacation spot just outside of Tashkent in a mountain area where you usually go for a vacation in the summer. And this resort used to have little concerts for guests and for their entertainment. So they would have some kind of games with the children, with the parents. And one of the nights we actually decided, let's go and check this out. And we decided to participate in one of the games. And I remember they're sitting down and the host said, okay, do we have any children who will go to school this year? And my mom, of course, being my mom, she just screamed, yes, yes, we have right here my daughter. She's 6 years old. She didn't go to school. And she just pushed me toward the stage. And I went there confused, but I was like, okay, I'm going to participate. And we played this game with children. And at the end of the game, the host looked at me and said, hey, you can come to this table and you can choose any of the things from the table as a prize, you know? And he just showed me the table, and there we had around 5 or 6 almost identical backpacks. So they were almost identical, very similar, just different colors. And he said, yeah, you can go ahead and choose one of them. And what you expect usually is that I'm gonna go there, I'm gonna grab one, and I'm gonna run to my mom all happy with a new backpack. That's what you expect. But what actually happened is that I just stood there on stage and I was like looking around and I started panicking. I was panicking because I couldn't decide. I didn't know which backpack because they're almost the same. They're very similar. The design is good. The fabric is fine. And I was just panicking. And I looked at the host and I said, I'm sorry. I already go to school. And I just ran to my mom. And everybody just started laughing. And that's just a funny story from my childhood that my mom likes to tell people, just to embarrass me. But if you think about the situation a little bit, if you think back, what really happened? Why I couldn't decide? Why was it so hard to make the decision? Well, I couldn't decide because when I was faced with 5 almost identical backpacks, I didn't know which one to choose. I didn't know which one the best because there were too many options. If I had one backpack, maybe I would just be happy and just go and run with it. But I was stressed and overwhelmed with options. And this phenomenon is actually called the paradox of choice, meaning having overwhelming, just stressful feeling when you are too many emotions, options, right? And I am clearly not alone because research says that there are about 34,000 decisions that an average adult makes in a day. Can you imagine 34,000 decisions? It means that's about roughly 2,000 decisions in an hour that we make. And this can be very overwhelming, of course. And the science is clear. The science is clear about that if you have more options, it becomes harder to make that final one. Because our brain always thinks, what is the safest option? What is the best option, most efficient? What is the perfect option for me that benefits me? And while the brain thinks that, we actually have a decision-making limit. We cannot make that many decisions. And that's why you get to the stage where you're overwhelmed and stressed with all these options. And as we develop as a society, as human beings, we have all these scientific, technological, and social advances, right? And because of that, we have more development, more progress, and consequently, we have more options than ever before, than our parents, that our grandparents did in the previous generations. You can take going to the store as an example, right? So what would happen if you went to the store like 10, 20 years ago, if you remember you were little, or your parents? You would go, let's say, to get some milk, right? You would go to the dairy section and try to get some milk. And you would just go into the store, go to the section, get the milk, and check out. That was like 10, 20 years ago. But with the current development, now if you think about the stores we have now, you go there and there's just like a wall of milk, yogurts, everything from different brands, organic, non-organic. Milk could be 1%, 2%, 3%, lactose-free. It just becomes more and more crazier and more options for different people. And now your brain goes into this overthinking mode and it says, okay, should I get 1% milk, 2%? Maybe I'm lactose intolerant. Maybe it's healthy for me. So you have all these things going on in your head and you just stand there at the store and you think about it, wasting your time. That's exactly what paradox of choice is. And this phenomenon is very deeply rooted in our everyday lives, right? Take a look at the companies and businesses right now. Take a look at marketing. Studies show that if a brand has, let's say, 10 different products, right, a variety, we think, oh, the more the better. They put different 10 products on the shelf. They actually sell less products than a company that will put 3 top products to the shelf, right? Why? Because when you go and see 10 different things, you're like, okay, I don't know which one to choose. Okay, maybe I will check. Maybe I'll ask my mom. Maybe I'll call her. But if you have like 3 options, you just pick one of them. That's easier for you because it narrows down and it eliminates and makes it easier for you to make that decision. It gives you this freedom to decide, right? So now here's the question. What does this phenomenon, paradox of choice, then tells us about human behavior, about our decision-making process? Are we inherently bad at making decisions? Are we bad at, choosing from different options? Well, the answer is mixed. It's yes and no. As human beings, we can be bad at making decisions because it's hard for us to assess risks and reward, right? Again, thinking about the example with the store, you look at the product and you start thinking, okay, do I need this today? What about tomorrow? What if this goes bad in 2 days and then I will just lose my money? So you go into that mode. So that's the overthinking part, doing the work for you. And that's hard. Let's think about the solutions then. So how can we make decisions better? How can we make correct choice or the perfect choice, as we can call that? So one of the ways you can do that is making a list of pros and cons, right? If you, for example, trying to pick your major, right? I see a lot of young people here in the crowd. If you're trying to think where to go for your major, you want to choose HR, you want to choose medicine, anything, different professions. There are so many options, right? You can start off by doing a list of pros and cons, what is good about this profession, what is bad about this profession, and this helps you to eliminate 1, 2, 3 options. And you are already faced with like top 3 or top 5, and that's already easier for you to decide. Another way could be removing yourself from the situation, just as I just left the stage in my childhood story. And also, don't forget that making these bad decisions can be also useful for you. As the more you make these decisions that you think that are bad for you, you learn something positive from it. You learn something from the consequences. You learn how to structure your decision-making process, and you learn how to decide. But ultimately, you always make the choice that is best for you in your situation, in your life, and according to the way you live and you think. So hopefully next time you are faced with a very hard decision or with way too many options, you will know what to do. Thank you.
Our next speech is about steps in finding and realizing passion. We're going to look at the models and successful examples that produce passion. Passion over lifelong burnout. I give the stage to Azizbek Nizomov.
So, what is passion? No, seriously. All right. So there are thousands upon thousands of definitions for passion. But for now, let's look at the definition the dictionary of Merriam-Webster offers. So it says, intense emotion, compelling action. Think about it. Intense emotion, compelling action. Sounds a bit raw, doesn't it? Let's decode it. So the social science of the day is clear about the science of passion. And the social science suggests that there are 3 steps to the passion, and any passionate person takes into making it, right? So the first one being knowledge, right? The first step is knowledge. And the second is realization of passion, or emotional backbone of it, you can call. And the third one being the determination to act. Still sounds a bit raw, doesn't it? Let's exemplify it. And let's look at the example of a father asking for his son to bring the keys. And for the son to know that the person asking him to do that is his father would be knowledge. And then from that knowledge, he drives an emotional backbone. He understands that this is my father, so I should feel respect towards him. And therefore, why wouldn't I do what he says to me to do? And why wouldn't I bring those keys? And that's when he realizes that this is part of passion. And then he doesn't need much energy. He doesn't need much of a thought process. He is determined. From that moment on, he drives enough reason. He has concrete, solid reason to get up and bring those keys to his father. And now this seems okay. And moving on. So why would you think that if we have those 3 steps and the social science is saying everything is clear, just take those 3 steps and make it, like Albert Einstein, like Nikola Tesla, right? Why wouldn't you do that if it's so clear? Why are you sitting here? Oh, why are you not pursuing all your passions? Why are you not becoming the next, I don't know, Michael Jordan? Well, I have my reasons for that. And this is absolute maximum of distractions. Let's decode this as well. And the first one being long schooling. Why long schooling? Because throughout the world, whether all the school systems have 10 to 12-year-old schooling programs. In USA, in Russia, in Uzbekistan, in China, wherever you look, it's 10, 11, 12-year-old schooling program. And it's not said to the kids that, okay, look, here, you study those 20 subjects at a basic fundamental level for 3-4 years, and then you are free to go and choose whatever you like the most. And then concentrate most of your time to that science, to that subject. No, they're not being told that. They're saying, the schooling program is saying, you go study those 12 years, and we don't care about your passion, basically. And this is one of the reasons that disrupts this process of finding a passion and grinding on it really hard. Next, the second step being television. Well, just television is an example to that. But a deeper root cause for that would be hedonic adaptations. Hedonic adaptations are when you get used to something really, really good, and then after that, going back wouldn't feel that good. Like in an example of a kid, for example, when he tries an ice cream for the first time, he wouldn't love the taste of a carrot the second time he tries it, right? After an ice cream. It wouldn't feel that good after something sweeter hits, right? And that's an adaptation. And that's a basic principle that works generally for anything. When you get used to television, when you get used to Instagram, when you get used to any social media platform, you're used to Netflix, then studying on your exams, doing your homework for 3-4 hours straight wouldn't feel that good. So this process is disrupted as well. And the third reason being internet. Well, here internet is also just an exemplar, right? And the main reason behind internet being exemplified is shortening attention spans. What is attention span? Attention span is one's ability to concentrate on a thing before the first feeling of boredom, before the first feeling of, I don't want to do this anymore, hits. So a healthy person has 25 to 30 minutes of attention span. Usually, the biology works this way. Well, at least neurosurgeons say so, right? And then in the beginning of the media, in the beginning of the filming industry, we had films with 2-hour-long, we had basically 2-hour-long films. And then we started feeling sore. We started feeling bored with those 2-hour films. They were hard to follow, tough to keep the viewers all the time, right? And then they shortened it to 1-hour-long videos, 1-hour-long films. And then this felt long as well. And then the YouTube era hit as well. And then we have an average video of 7 to 10 minutes long videos, and everyone going watching them. So films won't feel that great after YouTube. And we're getting used to our attention spans are clicking to those 7-10 minutes. We don't want to watch 1-hour-long video, right? And then after the YouTube industry, we have something called Instagram. I'm sure all of you know what Instagram is. Might probably be addicted to it in a way, right? And those videos are, on average, 2-3 minutes long. Like Reels, Instagram videos are 2-3 minutes long. And so after you watch those 2-3 minute long videos on daily basis, and you prefer these videos over everything, over 2-hour long videos, or 1-hour long videos, over 30-minute videos, your attention span, your neural networks, your brain function works this way and says, I want to focus 2-3 minutes. If I don't like it, I skip it. This is my maximum now. So you're training your limits of your brain function to getting used to lowering its standards from 2-hour longs, and then from hour, then 2-3 minutes. And then we have something called TikTok, where videos are only 1 minute, right? And you watch only 1-minute videos. How does that feel? You like something, you watch it, and maximum length to which you watch it, minute. You watch a video, you like it, 1 minute. Don't like it, swap. Don't like it, swipe. Don't like it, swipe. So your attention span is essentially crushed. You don't have any attention span. Forget about those 6-hour study sessions. Forget about those 2-hour-long lectures. Forget about a lot of things, basically, where you need consistency, where you need attention. Forget about them. Your attention span is crushed. And basically, these 3 reasons are representations of bigger problems, root causes of these problems that we have. These are only examples. Moving on to another slide. So how do we break this? If we know that there are 3 steps, but we have these problems on our way, we have these barriers, how do we get through them? How do we break this cycle? Well, first, we extract the universal principles from the lives of the greats. Because whoever, if not them, right? If not Einstein, who else? If not Tesla, who else? Because those are the people that did it. Those are the people that dedicated their lives to it. Those are the people who studied for those 6 12-hour sessions, burned that midnight oil, right? With their lives, and then extract universal principles that also work for our lives. The second step would be to apply those lessons to current realities. Because if you have only principles, only formulas, and you don't use them, what the benefit you have, right? And surprise, surprise, already did those steps. We already extracted the rules, if you were attentive enough, after that TikTok generation, of course. And the next step is just applying them. Those 3 steps: study, realize your passion, and then grind. Those 3 steps, yes, exactly. Nothing more, those. So, and here we have an educational system which is exactly based upon the foundational principle of those 3 steps. Liberal arts education says, yes, we do realize it, and then we encourage and build our whole system on this 3-step plan. And just look at the results this liberal arts education produce. Well, liberal arts students in USA make up less than 2% of all student population. Yet the results they produce make up more than 20% of all the high achievers in USA, most influential people in politics, Bush, Clinton, like in business, Bill Gates, Zuckerberg, all of them are liberal artists, if you know, right? And then another study by Chicago University found out that Nobel Prize winners are almost all invariably liberal artists. This is solid data, statistical information from Chicago University. And they say it's all liberal arts, man. Just go for it, right? And when we look at the foundational principles of that liberal arts system, we see 3 main sciences being taught. 2 language arts, grammar, rhetoric, and then logic, which in combination teach you how to decode the core principles of any argument being made, whether it be in a book of a person or a motif in a film, whatever. And then having realized that central thing, which is learning and mastery, you are free to go to pursue any other career, they say. Basically, they teach them these 3 sciences, and then when they make hell of a learner with these 3 sciences out of any student, they say, now go study business, now go study politics. You're free to go, man. Just go do that. But first, you have to, it's just mandatory, have to study these 3 sciences. And after that, yeah, surprise, surprise again. If you knew, Harvard, Yale, Princeton are all liberal arts colleges. And when you see at their graduates, when you see at all those successful people making up that Forbes list, yeah, they are all graduates of these universities, which are liberal arts, which are based upon those 3 principles. And we have madrasa system. Now this must be interesting, right? Because madrasa system, and like, what's that? Madrasa system is easily, rawly looking at it, is liberal arts on steroids. Beefed up liberal arts, you can call. Why? Because remember we had 2 language sciences in liberal arts education? Well, guess what? We have 15 plus language sciences in madrasa system. 15 plus. And it's nahu, sarf, ma'ani, sawt, arud, wada, and you name it. 15 plus sciences, which aren't like, we have them, we can teach you them. No, it's mandatory. It's essential. If you don't study them, we don't allow you to just further your education. And people in those madrasa systems used to study all these sciences just as language sciences. And after them, they have a whole bunch of other sciences that they are supposed to study throughout their 20-year, 30-year educational process, which was very tough. And therefore, produced some of the most passionate and most professional and brightest minds that humanity has ever seen. We'll talk about them a bit later. But now let's look at the best examples of those madrasa systems. And the first one is Qarawiyyin in Morocco, Fez, and it's a 1,000-plus-year-old institution which produced some of the brightest human beings the humanity has ever happened to see. And the second is Al-Azhar in Egypt, and this place is another hotspot for the brightest minds. The third one should be familiar to most of the viewers here, and it's Mir Arab in Bukhara. It's 500-plus-year-old institution, which is also famous for its 30-plus-year-old educational system. And this is where you get the most famous scientists in most fields. And let's look at their results. I mean, when you look at these educational systems, man, how don't you marvel? How don't you get excited, surprised about the achievements of the people who just dictated the numerals to the world? Yeah, dictated the numerals. Did you ever wonder about your 1, 2, 3s that you use on daily basis? 1, 2, 3, 4s, numbers? Well, guess what? The graduates of those madrasa systems invented them. And how can you not marvel at the people whose passion invented algebra, invented optics, hospitals, Congress, and the list goes on. Algebra takes its name from the foundational math book by Al-Khwarizmi, Al-Jabr wal-Muqabala. And the West just gave to the whole science the name of a book that the person produced because it's so essential, so fundamental. And optics takes its roots back from the work in the works of Ibn al-Haytham, who laid the foundations for the operational fundamental processes of the human eye. And he broke down all the principles, all the steps, all the main mechanisms in how eye works. And upon that, current technology, current science laid its all new sciences upon this in the areas of AI, AR, VR, even this projector, let's say, these screens, all those cameras that you use in your fancy phones, yes, they all rely upon optics. Hospitals by Harun al-Rashid, who was caliph in the Muslim Empire. He came up with an idea of joining all those doctors in one place and then letting them to more effectively treat all the ill. And he's the producer of the idea of hospitals. I mean, where would you go with your COVIDs, right, if we didn't have Harun al-Rashid? And the Congress, the whole idea of the Congress, meaning that the way in which literally all governments are governed throughout the world now is produced by a man called Umar ibn Khattab, who was a caliph, the second caliph of the Muslim Empire. And the list goes on. You can look at the zillions and zillions of findings of the ideas that we might not have discovered yet. They are in manuscripts lying. For example, in Tashkent, Oriental Studies University in Tashkent, we have 136,000 plus manuscripts yet being to be translated, yet to be discovered by scientists and to be looked upon. What do we have there? We don't even know, right? And lastly, how can you not marvel at the people whose passion led to the 2/3 of all stars being named after them? Why after them? Because whoever discovers whatever, he calls it by his name most of the time. And this is how it works. 2/3 of all stars, can you imagine, is named by the graduates of an educational system which peaked, which showed its most brilliance between 7th to 15th centuries. But unfortunately, these days, we don't see that efficacy, unfortunately. And then finally, if you were patient enough and really paid attention to all these steps, we congratulate you and we surprise you with the fireworks. Sorry, there should have been fireworks, but the technical issues, right? So the last advice of ours goes like, every major change starts with passion, but for the passion to start, we need knowledge. Remember those 3 steps? Well, the first one is knowledge. When you study a lot of things and you get to know a lot of fields and sciences and you get to see what you're really good at, strong at, and what your weaknesses are, then you have a bird's eye view of a situation. And then you can say, I really like these 2, 3 things and let me devote my life to it. And I have solid and concrete reasons behind that. And I don't really like the whole rest basically. And then go on to pursuing your long journey with the grinding process. Well, yes, the first step is knowledge for that. And then those 2 steps follow along. And here at the end, we have a short clip prepared for you, inspired by these ideas. Thank you very much. Sorry. Thank you very much.
Beginning is the first part of something. It's the start of something. However, they can also be beginning with the end in mind. I'm happy to present our next speaker, Dilrabo Orzikulova.
Heyo everyone, how are you doing? Well, my topic is beginning with the end in mind. And what does it actually mean? According to Mr. Covey, everything is created twice. First of all, mentally and then physically. For instance, when you're trying to give a speech, you're going to first think about it, like what you're going to talk about, like planning, this kind of stuff. This is actually first step of creation, creating mentally. And then you're actually going to the speech. This is creating physically. And when you're trying to cook something or like make a meal, you first look at the recipe and like think about ingredients, how many steps you're going to take, and then actually you're going to cook. In ancient times, they used to look at maps before they go somewhere, but now we just take our phones and Google it. How many miles will it take? And am I gonna get like train, bus, plane, or am I gonna go just on foot? It's actually creating mentally. You're gonna think about your plans. So to achieve something that you want, to get what you want, to achieve your goals and dreams, you have to take 3 steps. First of all, desire, willing it. What does it mean? When you sincerely want something, it is the first step. You have already done with the first step towards your dream. You have to really want it, not because others are doing this, or not because you can gain more benefit from this, but because you really want it, because your heart wants it. So the second step is actually planning. You're gonna ask from yourself, how? How am I going to do this? This is the rule of Mr. Covey. Beginning with the end in mind. It's actually by 2 steps, as I said earlier, and the last step is action. This is where most people fail. You think they failed in the third step? No, they didn't. They actually failed in the second step while they're planning. Failing in the planning is actually planning to fail. That's why planning is one of the most important ones. So let's say tomorrow in the morning at 7 a.m. you have to go to a wedding party of your friends for help at 7 a.m. and you're just sleeping today in the evening without thinking about anything. You don't care. You're saying, I'm gonna figure it out in the morning. But you can't because you woke up at 6:30, let's say, and now you're saying, OMG, how am I gonna do all the stuff in 30 minutes? Your hairstyle, your dress, your shoes, you don't have any idea about it. So now you're in a hurry and in a big trouble. So that is why planning is the most important one. So now you might be thinking about the Harry Potter. Why is he here? Well, actually, I really wanted to be a student of presidential school, so I was dreaming about it. I had a really good desire. I took a first step. And when it comes to the second step, I just hit by a car. So, and at that time, I was worrying, not about my appearance, not because my face was scratched, not because I was ill, not because I wasn't allowed to get out of the bed, but because I wasn't able to prepare for the exam. And my mom was like, come on, is that the thing that making you worry? And I was like, yes. All the day, I wasn't allowed to get out of the bed. I was just thinking about my dream, and one idea came to my mind. What if I just download English movies and watch it, to improve my English? And I downloaded Harry Potter in first series. I saw Harry in Hogwarts next to the window, sitting and like dreaming and planning about his future. And I thought, in the first night of presidential school's dormitory, I'll be sitting next to the window and I'll be thinking about it. And everybody was like, is that your dream? Is that what you really want? And actually, I have applied to the presidential school and thankfully I was accepted. And suddenly I realized it in the first night there that I was sitting next to the window and like planning about SAT, IELTS, and I was like, oh, I did it. I began with the end in mind. I have no idea about Harry Potter at the time. Just it came to my mind, I did it. Oh my God. So beginning with the end in mind is needed, is the most needed thing when you're going on the way towards your dreams. If you don't want to achieve anything, don't begin with the end in mind. Thank you.
Importance of information technology in today's world is obvious. So our next speaker, Emil Yerafeevsky, will speak about first steps in IT industry. Welcome him.
Hello there. Okay. Here we go.
It's not smoke. Whatever. Hi there. So, okay, I came here to tell you about some kind of first steps in IT and what you're gonna find there. Let's go. Please make a next slide. Thank you. So, to give you understand, I'm not just a guy another one who talking about like IT without understanding what is it. I'm in IT about 5 years, and I'm senior software engineer in the company iTechCard. You can see the merch on me. So, and I was a dev tutor in the past. So, we have a Monday Academy in there. We made it together with one guy. So, what I'm gonna tell you about the first steps in IT, and what I want to tell you is about which kind of professions we have in there, what you can do, who you can be, and what you need to focus on to have your first job in there. Next one, thank you. So the main IT directions in there we have the quality assurance, the QA who testing the programs, the testing everything, and by manual and by automatizing tests in there. So they are not acquired developers, but they understand how the developing stuff works, to test it and to see the cases which need to be tested. We have the developers, me, as you see. So who making the web development, who making the mobile, I don't know, programs, desktop programs, and the blockchain also. I'm working in the blockchain, creating like cryptocurrencies. Yeah, everybody heard about the cryptocurrencies, the Bitcoin, NFTs. Nobody understands what is it, but whatever. NFT is a very nice thing, I tell you. We have, no, thank you. We have the management stuff in there who are working like in the product owners, product management, project management, and HR, the human resource management. The first two are controlling the development process, controlling developers like me who do not want to do anything, but we need to make a project as well. So they're controlling us and giving us some kind of kicks to work on. Product owners, the main difference from the product management, there's the product owners are moving business forward. And if you think that you want to promote business, to find the new features for the business, to make the business better, so you can be the product owner. If you want to control people as well, you can be the product management. And human resource managers, they're just defining people and giving them offers for the job and controlling, they're working with the people as well, human resource. And also we have on the design, UI, UX. This is the design of your applications, maybe mobile, web applications. Every time when you're going to Instagram, every time when you're going somewhere, you see the nice design. You're not paying attention on it in case of the designer work. It's not so, I don't know. You do not see a lot of stuffs in there. this is very, very, very slightly going into your mind. But if the design is bad, you're gonna see that you're paying attention on it. And the graphic design, they're just making logotypes, they're making some kind of illustrations, working with motion and other things. So, which kind are you gonna choose? I will gonna tell you how to enroll to some kind of profession of the IT on the example of the developer. Thank you. And so, what you have to know to become, for example, like a dev, yeah, like a developer. I know somebody of you wanted to be a developer, so of course, to begin, you have to find out which language you want to learn, why, this is the main aim, why. And after that, learn it, of course. The main thing to understand why and which language you need to learn, this is for which language you will be paid faster. In case of like, you may learn C++, but finding the first job will take you about 3 years, maybe, I don't know. But if you're gonna learn some Python or PHP, you're gonna find job more faster than some kind of. And of course, the main thing, the much developers and the much people forgetting about, like, you no need be just a skilled developer, because only for that nobody will care about it. You need to sell yourself, and in that case you need to have the good soft skills. As I wrote here, do your best to sell your smile, not only your skill. You need to sell yourself. You need to show yourself. You need to, even if you not have enough technical skills, you can sell yourself just by your smile. And of course, experience to do some stuff. If you find out, like, I want to be a web developer, you have to do some kind of sites, some kind of systems in web. If you want to become a mobile developer, you need to try to make the mobile applications just by yourself. It counts. Even if you are a QA engineer, even if you are a manager, you have to have some kind of experience to show that you, I don't know, that you're enough skilled and experienced to get this job. And of course, start early as you can in the real projects. In case of the real commercial experience, counts more than the just experience what you have at home. Please, next one. Could you? Thank you. Soft skills. What I'm going to tell you about the soft skills. The main soft skills what you have, it's your communication skills. You have to talk with the people. You have to increase your network. Talk with the people, tell you about everything what you have. Like, if you're coming to some kind of event where the only developers and the managers are staying, show your development skills by your speech. Just talk with them. Maybe you're gonna learn something from them. Maybe you're gonna do something for this stuff. And it would be nice. In case if you're gonna show yourself, maybe you're gonna find some kind of work. They'll find you like, oh, this man knows something. I'm gonna get him. Second skill, it's a very important skill. It's not only just to communicate in a simple life, but communicate in a job life. Like when a working process, when you're working, you need to work in team. Find out how to work in team. Doesn't matter who you are. If you're leading the team, if you're just a part of the team, if you're the manager who controlling the team, or the simple developer or QA. You have to know to understand how to conversate with the people, how to connect with them, how to work with them, how to find out how to reach the aim together. This is the main thing. Because much developers are introverts. I'm understanding them. So, but they have to, if they want to, getting more, like in salary, in experience, and to reach the bigger aims, they have to work in a team. Because only the team can reach something bigger. This next one. So, which language to choose? As I said before, we have a plot of some kind of language, as you see on the screen. I hope you see the screen. C, Java. It's very popular now. The Python and PHP, maybe. Like, if you are becoming a developer or maybe QA engineer, we have to find out what to learn. And first, advice to you, look at the market. Which language, which system are required? If you will find out that JavaScript is more requiring now in Uzbekistan than C++, so why you need to learn the C++? Do not learn that, because you will never pay it out for it. It's very difficult, and nobody will pay for this, even if you're, I don't know, blazingly cool in the C++. Find out which will be paid. Yes, and of course, this is a question about the simplest. The simpler language here is the Python, JavaScript, and a PHP maybe. So start with something simple. Also in the QA engineering, maybe in the management, maybe in the graphic design, when you're starting not from something difficult like a Figma or some in design, or something difficult in the QA engineering like special programs like Insomnia, you're starting from the scratch, from understanding. Here also, if you want it to be as an additional thing for the web languages, as you see about the market, the web pie. If you want to become the web developer, like for example, you're gonna find out which is more important, and PHP have about 60% of the market. So maybe you're gonna learn this, maybe not, but whatever. Also, as I said, for QA engineers, just search into the market. And about the soft skills, about networking, which and where you can find some kind of networking. Where you can show yourself, where you can find the good people, good HRs, when the HRs can find you. And this is the one interesting network system, social media, LinkedIn. Not only for the developers, but also for the QA engineers, project management, for tutors, for lawyers even, for doctors, everybody. This is a professional social media. Make an account in there. Now, do not waste the time. Make an account, write everything by yourself. And maybe some interesting HR. From Google, one time we'll see you. Maybe from my company, ITCard. Maybe from Twitter. Maybe something smaller, but they will find you in case of algorithms. And they will know who you are. Because I found a job in there. And that's a very important question. Where you need to put yourself. LinkedIn, maybe Headhunter. This is my advice. Show yourself every time to the world. Only in case of showing yourself, you can find the first job in IT. And of course, this is a question about your skills. That's all. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, so now we're going to have our closing ceremony, and it gives me the pleasure to invite all our 8 speakers here at the stage. So welcome them. Gulirano Masharipova, Robert Gafarov, Dilrabo Orzikulova, Shohrukbek Olimov,
Kamila Saidova, Shahlo Giyasova, Azizbek Nizomov, and Emil Yerafeevsky. And of course, I'd like to invite our main organizer, our innovator, Mr. Firdavs Navruzov.
Thank you very much. Dear guests, first of all, I would like to thank all of you for attending the event, and I would like to thank our speakers for giving us amazing speeches. And if you don't mind, we would like to say our thanks with a little gift and some certificates. First, Gulirano Masharipova. Robert Gafarov, Kamila Saidova, Shohruxbek Olimov. Shahlo Giyasova. Azizbek Nizomov. Dilrabo Orziqulova. Emily Rifit. Thank you all for attending and giving us these amazing speeches. We will always remember this event, and I think I can say thank you from everyone. Thank you.
Premium Media. Bu barcha turdagi media mahsulotlarni yaratuvchi kompaniya bo'lib, sizga hozirda 10 dan ortiq media xizmatlarini taklif eta oladi. To'y va marosimlar uchun fotograf va video operator xizmati. Tug'ilgan kun, kollektiv o'tirishlari va banketlarni video va foto tasvirlarga muhrlash. Oilangizda jajji chaqaloq mehmonmi? Unda bu ajoyib onlarni biz bilan tarixga qoldiring. Kichik intervyulardan tortib to katta seminarlar uchun media jamoa xizmati. Ijtimoiy, motivatsion va albatta kreativ videoroliklar tayyorlash xizmatlari. Murojaat uchun telefon raqamlar 93lik kodi bilan 686 47 32, 90lik kodi bilan 744 47 32. Premium Media. Eng yoqimli onlar biz bilan.